This is the 1.7 practice with Mr. V. I'm going to be doing the odds today. So the first one is solve each inequality, and then check your solution. So it's just solving like there would be a equal sign. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the 9. So then I'm going to add negative 9 on each side, or minus 9 on each side. And I'll have 3f is less than or equal to 9, or then 21 minus 9 is equal to 12. And then I divide each side by 3. And since it's not a negative, I can keep the sign the way it is. So I'll have f is less than 4. So you can check this answer by putting in any number that's less than 4. So if I wanted to check it, I would do, say, 3 times 3 plus 9 would be less than 21. Is that true? So that'd be 9 plus 9, which is equal to 18, and that would be less than 21. All right, for 3, I'm going to add 3 to each side, so then I'll be left with 33y is less than or equal to 11. And then I'm going to divide each side by 33 to get y alone. And I'm not dividing or multiplying by a negative, so I'm going to keep the sign the same. And I'll have y is less than or equal to 11 over 33, but I got to reduce that, so the very final answer would be y is less than or equal to 1 over 3. And that's your answer. I'm doing the same stuff here, except for I got to distribute. So I'll distribute this and I'll get 2k plus 8 minus 3k is less than or equal to 14. After I've distributed, I got to combine like terms. So I have this and this. And that gives me a negative 1k plus 8 is less than or equal to 14. I'm going to minus 8 onto each side. So negative 1k is going to be equal to positive 6. And then I still have to get rid of this negative sign. So, sorry, it's not going to be equal to, it's going to be less than or equal to. I messed up that sign. So now I need to divide each side by negative 1. And by doing so, that flips this sign. So then k is going to be greater than or equal to negative 6. And you can check this by putting anything from negative 6 or less in there, and you will get that final answer. All right, 7 is the same. Going to distribute, so it'll be 15j minus 45 plus 3j is less than 45. Combine the like terms, so that would give me 18j minus 45 is less than 45. I'm going to add 45 to each side, so 18j is going to be less than 90. And then you're going to do 90 divided by 18. And 90 divided by 18 is going to give you 5, so j is less than 5. And again, you can just take this and plug it in. It's just that all this is saying, the rule is that j has to be less than 5. All right, 9. I'm going to distribute and then combine like terms. So I'll have negative 53 is greater than negative 9z minus 9 plus 3z. Can I combine like terms? I'll have negative 53 is greater than negative 6z minus 9. I'll add 9 to each side. So then if I have negative 53 plus 9, it's going to be negative 44 is greater than negative 6z. I'm going to divide each side by negative 6. And by doing that, that's going to flip the sign. So negative 44 divided by negative 6 is going to be 7.3. Actually be 7.4 if I round up. Flips that is equal to z. Now I got a decimal here, so let's just check my work real quick because I don't have an answer key. So after going through my math again, look, this looks right. I can solve this or check my answer by maybe doing like 7.5. So if I did 7.5 and I plugged it in here, that's how I would check my answer. All right, solve it each inequality if possible. So that's your first choice. If it has no solution, then we write no solution. Check in second choice. If the solutions are all real numbers, write all real numbers. That'll be your third choice. So I'm going to distribute this. I'll have 6w plus 5 is greater than 6w plus 6. So I'm going to minus 6 on each side. We'll start with minus 6w, minus 6w. So it's going to cancel that and that out. So what you're left is 5 is greater than 6. So you just got to ask yourself, does that make sense? This one does not make sense because 5 is not greater than 6. So you write no solution. All right, 13. Going to distribute, and I'll get negative 12 plus negative 2s is less than negative 16 plus 2s. So I'll start on the left-hand side, and I want to get, actually I'll minus 2s on each side, so that will be my negative 12 plus negative 4s is going to be less than negative 16. I'm going to add 12 to each side, and that'll cancel this out. So I'll have negative 4s is less than negative 4, and then I have to divide. So because I have to divide by negative 1, I'm going to flip the sign, and then negative 4 divided by negative 4 is going to be equal to 1. So s is going to be equal to 1, or greater than 1. All right, 15. A family decides to rent a boat for the day while on vacation. The boat's rental rate is $500 for the first 2 hours and $50 for each additional. So each additional half hour. Suppose if the family can spend $700 for the boat. What inequality represents the number of hours for which they can rent the boat? So if this says $50 for each additional half hour, we could write it. Let's just start with. So 500 for the first 2 hours is going to be, with this first one, the 500 for the first 2 hours is just $500, right? So it's just be 500. Then we're going to add, it'll be 50, and then for each additional half hour, so for time, we'll represent that as X. So then that's going to have to be, either less than or equal to 700. So then if I minus 500 on each side, I'll have 50x is less than or equal to 200. And then if I divide that by 50, I'll get x is less than or equal to 4. And then we can just check our answer. So let's say they get for the first 2 hours, so that's hour 1 and hour 2, and that'll be $500. And then if they have $50 for each additional half hour, that means they have an extra $200 left after the first 2 hours. So that will be 50. So we're at 500, 550, 600, 650, 700. So which one of the qualities we're up through? So that would be x is less than or equal to 4. I think it should be 2, 4, 6. It should be 500, 600, 700. So I think it should be 6 because if it's for each additional half hour, that'd be $100 for each hour. Give me 1 second. All right, so after talking it through in my head a couple times, all right, so I believe that x, my original, x is less than or equal to 4 is correct because the first $500 goes for the first 2 hours. So that's first hour, second hour. And then if you think about it, even though this half hour throws you kind of through a loop, it's supposed to be like $100 for each extra hour. So they still have $200 left over. So that means $100 per hour. So they can have an extra 2 hours. So a total of 4. If I plug that in, so the most that they can have is 4 hours into my equation, that'd be 200 plus 500 would be less than or equal to, which would be equal to 700. So your final answer should be the first one which I had, which is x is less than or equal to 4. All right, if you guys have any questions, email me or stop in. Have a good night.